Hey guys, and welcome to the first page style video. Okay, so that's the first page style, which you have probably seen before in my information video. But today I want to show you how I use it and also, of course, how to make it. And for the first page style, I like to have it included on the inside of the front cover. So that's also what I did here in my Advent calendar album. But with the measurements I'm using for the page style, it of course can also be added onto any of our basic pages, which you will see me doing in the tutorial as well. And it's basically a pocket on the bottom with a flap to have it closed on the top. And to keep it closed, it has an envelope string closure, which I made by using two white eyelets. And in the pocket, I like to include some photo mats or also some photo booklets sometimes. And then I also love to keep some journaling tags in there as well. And as you can see here, for the journaling tags, I love to use journaling cards in size 4x4 or 3x4 inches. And you could fit even more than what I've placed in there, so it's definitely a page style which can hold a lot of different pictures. Now for the next step, we need to attach our 3/8 of an inch tape onto our cardstock elements. And you could probably also use wet glue, but I really prefer tape because it is very strong, and I think for the basic construction of my pages, it holds very well. So for the tape, it needs to be placed right next to each of our scoring lines, so that the little flaps we created with scoring are fully covered. Just make sure that you have your tape attached right next to the scoring lines, but you don't accidentally cover the scoring lines with it. After placing the tape, we now need to cut off the corners of these little flaps we created. So I like to turn around my cardstock elements for this, and then I get a small scissors and I just cut at an angle right next to the scoring lines. So again, you want to make sure that you don't cut into the scoring lines, but right next to it. Now we can go ahead and fold up all our little flaps on the scoring lines. And the side you want to fold up the flaps is actually not the side you scored at, and it's also not the side we placed our tape on. So for this, we have to turn around our cardstock, and then we can just go ahead and fold it on the back side. And I also like to get my bone folder to burnish it down so that it lays flat. Now that we have our cardstock elements prepared, we can continue by attaching our pattern paper onto our cardstock elements. And for this, I always like to use wet glue instead of tape, because by using wet glue, you will be still able to move around your pattern paper until you find the right position. And with the measurements, we are actually left with a border of 1/8 of an inch around the pattern paper. So I like to move it around and make sure that I have an even border around my pattern paper. And once I have found the right position, I use my bone folder to burnish it down. And as you can see here, I don't use a lot of glue. I actually just use a little bit of glue around the edges, and then I stick it to my cardstock. Now for the next step, we want to attach our white eyelets onto our cardstock elements. And for this, first I always make sure that I will attach them on the right side. So for the pocket, of course, the eyelet needs to be attached on the top side. So I get my 10 hole spooler, and then I find the middle of the pocket. And I also always like to have the eyelets attached at 1 inch from the edges. So yeah, I just get my pencil and mark it down. And then of course do exactly the same for your cardstock element A, which is going to be your flap. Again, make sure that you don't attach your eyelet to the side with the tape. So you want to have it attached, of course, on the opposite side. Find the middle, mark it down, and then you know exactly where to place your eyelets. And for the next step, we of course need an eyelet setting tool. So I like to use the Big Bite by We Are Memory Keepers. And then we need to punch a hole at the position where we want to attach our eyelets to. After punching the holes, we now can take our eyelets and just place them into the holes. And then make sure that you have the right settings on your eyelet setting tool. And then you want to be careful because for setting our eyelet in place, we don't want to press all the way down like we would usually do, but you just want to press slightly so that the eyelet is not attached completely, but it's attached very loosely to your cardstock element. And this gives you enough space between the eyelet and the cardstock so that you will be able to wrap around your string later on. So for the pocket, of course, we do exactly the same. So we also want to attach our eyelet very loosely to the cardstock. Then to keep the eyelets from moving around so much, I actually like to get a small piece of tape and then I turn around my pocket and I cover the eyelet from the back side. And as you can see, this has my eyelet standing up so that there is enough space between the eyelet and the cardstock element. Then to attach the pocket onto our basic pages, I like to start with attaching the bottom of the pocket first. And for this, I just remove the tape backing from one side and then I hold up the sticky side, so the side where I removed the tape backing, and I use the other side to align it to the corner and the edge of the basic page. And then once I have found the right position, I go ahead and I press down the sticky side and then I remove all the rest of the tape backing as well. And once the bottom of the pocket is attached, you can just go ahead and remove the tape backing from the sides of the pocket, and then you can attach everything to the basic page. And for the flap, I do exactly the same. So to attach the flap, I also remove the tape backing from one side, and then I hold up the sticky side so that I can find the right position, and once I have my flap aligned to the edges of the basic page, I press down the sticky side and then I can remove the whole tape backing. Now we also need to attach our string onto our cardstock element A. So the string is going to be attached on the flap. So just pull it through the eyelet from the outside, and then you can get again a little bit of tape to cover the eyelet and also cover the string with it. And once you have it attached, you can just close up the flap so that the pocket is closed. And then I usually would wrap around the string like 3 or maybe 4 times around both eyelets. And then for the last wrapping, I just wrap it around the bottom eyelet. And then I get my scissors and I just cut off the string. Now for the last step, we just need to attach our pattern paper for the basic page and our pattern paper for cardstock element A. So we need to open up our pocket, and then again I get some red glue and I place it around the edges of my pattern paper, and then I can just attach pattern paper A onto the inside of the flap. And to attach our pattern paper for the basic page onto our basic page, we again just use a little bit of red glue, and then we can just slide the pattern paper into the pocket a little bit. And that's actually why we wouldn't need the pattern paper to be in size 8 by 8 inches to cover the basic page completely. But we just used 8 by 5 inches. And this way we are also able to save up a little bit of pattern paper, and then by attaching the pattern paper in the last step, we are also able to cover up the little flap of cardstock element A as well. So that's it for today's page style, and if you haven't watched it yet, there is a video uploaded to my channel with all the information on the Advent Calendar series. So I hope that you enjoyed watching today's tutorial, and if you did so, I would love to get your feedback. So have a nice day and see you in my next video. Bye!